Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I'm Greg Sanders, the Sexy Jedi. I wanted to shine a light, or at least shine a light on this kind of conversation, because someone messaged this to me and I thought it was interesting. We know we're getting the Knights of the Old Republic remake, right? We know that's coming. That's been confirmed. It's a timed exclusive on consoles for the PlayStation 5, but it is launching on the PlayStation 5 and the PC day and date. It's just a timed console exclusive, which is fine, whatever. I'm playing it on PC anyway. But I love Knights of the Republic. Speaking of Knights of the Republic, this is my original copy from 2003. This is the Xbox copy of Knights of the Old Republic. I've had it, holy crap, for 19 years. That's crazy to think about. There's the disc inside. It's got a manual. Oh, wow, it has my old address when I filled out registration. I forgot about that. That's cool. Wow. Anyway, but yeah, it's got the manual, galactic database, all this stuff. I haven't opened this up in a while. I love it. I miss manuals. I mean, I get it. I'm all for the environment. I get it. I don't know. Manuals are fun. I liked taking them to the bathroom with me. That was a thing. It was fun to take a manual to the bathroom and read it, fill out the back, because there was some note pages, and I I don't know what kind of notes you took, but for me, I made up stories. So I have some of my manuals had little short stories and stuff tied into the characters. That's the weird shit I did when I use the bathroom. Weird shit. That feels like a joke is in there somewhere, but I don't have it. So anyway, the the level of passion around the era of the old republic and KOTOR, especially in these characters, Revan, Malik, Bastila, Karth, HK-47, T3M4, again, the ships, the Ebon Hawk, all of this, incredibly iconic, lovable. It is classic Star Wars. It is so classic and it's so perfect, right? It is perfect. But it's also incredibly immersive. And it is player driven in a way that obviously canon can't be. You know what I mean? Like canon can't be player driven. You drive the narrative. The choices you make determines the narrative of the story, the arc of the story. Now, so far in terms of eras that Lucasfilm have been willing to explore, we're keeping a really tight box on the timeline, which I think is really interesting, and it almost feels purposeful. And again, we can say that that's open for debate, and it absolutely is. But to me, it feels purposeful. You look at the High Republic; they're only going back 300 years. The Acolyte is only 100 years before A New Hope, and then everything is still in the same pocket. We're not going any further back, and so far we haven't gone past the Rise of Skywalker. Though we have been told, and Kathleen Kennedy said that the next films will go further beyond the timeline, which again, past episode 9. And again, that kind of dialogue to me sounds like they're going very far out. Now, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they go far enough out so that Grogu is older master and there is some kind of connective tissue with the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian took off unlike anything else. The Mandalorian took off, whereas Solo and the sequel trilogy and those things just didn't take off. Mandalorian exploded and is just a cornerstone now, unlike anything that Disney had done prior. So why aren't they cashing in on KOTOR is a lot of the conversation surrounding it. We know that we're getting a KOTOR remake. That's awesome. But what does that mean in terms of diving into that era? Will the sales of the KOTOR remake determine whether or not they dive into it more? Will we ever get a Tales of the Jedi that is set 5,000 years before the events of A New Hope, going back into the origins of the Jedi and the origins of the Sith, the 100-Year Darkness, stories like that, Ulic Queldroma, iconic characters from legend, Exar Kun, again, Revan. And there's a point where I can play devil's advocate, right? And I can say, Revan's story and the story of KOTOR matters because I played and experienced it and I got to make the choices. Does Revan's story work if you're just watching it as a movie? Is a 2-hour movie enough? Like, do we want to see Revan's story in cinemas? And it's interesting. This is where a part of me, and a big overwhelming part of me, says, no, I don't. I don't think you can do Revan's story in 2 hours. I think, if anything, Revan and the era of, the KOTOR, whether you do the Mandalorian Civil War, whether you do the Sith Wars, what have you, I think they need room to breathe. I think they need television. I think they need a serialized format told over seasons, not 2 hours, a trilogy amounting to 6 hours versus television where you can get 16 hours, 20 hours to really flesh it out. So I feel like it is deliberate that Lucasfilm is ignoring this era. But I don't think it's like anything negative. I think, again, this isn't that channel. The clickbait, creepy conspiracy bullshit, this isn't that channel, Mac. But I do think it's deliberate. I think they are deliberately avoiding this era. This era. It is iconic. It's getting a remake, for God's sake. This is iconic. It's gotten multiple toys. It is beloved. Honestly, this era could easily, this could fit somewhere in anybody's even top 5 favorite Star Wars. Like, I truly believe that. If you took everything Star Wars, and there's a lot, I think this would end up in a lot of top 5s. It is beloved. But is a 2-hour movie selling it short? I think it is. I do. I think it is. And I get it. I know I want to see this era on the big screen, but I think you have to find an angle to approach it. You have to find a different angle to approach it through. And maybe tell a different story in cinema, but put Revan's story in, on streaming, on television, and give it time, and give it that chance. Give it that opportunity to really expand itself. So then the other question is canon, right? Canon and Legends and the stupid arguments around continuity. Honestly, most of the time, Mac, I just check out. Like, there's the Disney canon, there's the Legends canon. I don't give a shit. I read what I read growing up. And I read and I enjoy it. For me, I have my mind on, okay, this is what happened. That's it, because it's Star Wars, and there's tons of stories out there that all contradict each other. I pick my favorites and I move on. Canon, continuity, all this stuff. If somebody's lightsaber is a color in one book, but it's a different color on the screen, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. There was already more than enough discrepancies just in the original trilogy and the prequels that you just can't. They don't line up. They don't line up, Mac. You take it, and that's it. You take it like a story being told, and that's it. That's what matters. For me, I've got Jason and Jaina Solo, Luke Skywalker has a son, all that shit. It is what you make it, because it's all fiction. And Legends or Disney canon or what have you, none of it matters. I just enjoy what I enjoy. But in terms of KOTOR, more than ever, it is your canon. You have a history. What your Revan did, light or dark, who he murdered, who he saved, what he did on Terrace, what he did on Tatooine, what he did on Kashyyyk. It matters. It matters. And I don't know if a movie or a show can ever live up to that experience. I don't even know why we want to sell that a video game experience is lesser. Is Jedi Fallen Order lesser because it's a video game? Of course not. Video games have incredible production values. Video games rival films and sometimes surpass them. Just look at Uncharted, the game, versus the movie. Come on, Mac. But my point stands. They can surpass them. They can easily surpass them. Some people even say the KOTOR, the 2 KOTOR games, surpass the prequel trilogy. There are people who stand by it, and that's fine. What is your favorites, or what is your favorites? I know that for me, it's not really a KOTOR trilogy, but duology, I guess, KOTOR and then the Sith Lords. Yeah, I rank them very high. Depending on the day, they could be number 1, they could be number 2. You know what I'm saying? Out of a top 5. I rank this in that high. It is that important. But I don't think a game lessens that impact. I think games are reaching a peak of expansion in terms of eyes on gaming as entertainment that rivals cinema and television. And more eyes are on it than ever before. More eyes are on it than movies. The gaming industry brings in so much more money than the film industry. We don't really talk about that. A lot of people ignore it, but games are valid forms of art, expression, and storytelling. You don't have to replace that experience with a movie. There doesn't have to be an adaptation of KOTOR for it to matter. That's all I'm saying. There doesn't have to be an adaptation for it to matter. I think the remake's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see visually what they do. I can't wait to see what they do with the worlds, how much bigger they make the worlds, if they give us more worlds to explore. And that's just because I love that era, and I just want to live in it more. I want to see that era more. I want to breathe that era more. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to see Coruscant in that era. I would just love to experience more. And so I do hope the game is meatier and bigger, but that it doesn't lose anything, any of the heart and passion that went into this. Every story detail, every plot twist, everything that's in this game needs to be in the remake, and then we need a little bit more. Yeah, which I think is fair. You know, bigger worlds. Can you imagine oh man. I see I could go off on a tangent now, but I'll save that for another video. I'll save that for a KOTOR remake tangent if I feel like it's necessary. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. I do look forward to hearing from you all. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share our content with your friends. It helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms. I want to thank my patrons so much for their continued support and for making all of this possible. We have 2 tiers available, a $3 tier and a $5 tier, so please check that out. There's a link to our Patreon in the description below. Also, in the description below is a link to our amazing Discord community, The Tower. And finally, my debut novel, 89 Instrument of Destruction, is available to order now from Amazon. So please check that out. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, have a legendary day, and may the Force be with you.